Hello, welcome to all of you to my video lectures on elementary particles. This video lecture is brought to you by the Media Center of E-Wing Christian College, Prayagraj. So today I will be discussing about the elementary particles. This is unit 4 of the second paper, that is nuclear physics. This is basically designed for MSc third semester students. Okay. So the reference books for this topic are as follows. So first one is Introductory Nuclear Physics by Samuel S.M. Wong, and the second book is Introduction to Elementary Particles by David J. Griffith. So the outline of my today's video lectures are as follows. So first I will tell about the introduction, why we study this topic. Then I will give introductory idea about the matter. Here I will discuss what is matter, what is dark matter and normal matter. Then I will discuss about elementary particles. After that I will discuss fundamental forces or interactions of our nature. Then I will discuss classification of elementary particles. So first, introduction. One of the primary goals of studying elementary particles is to find the answer of the following questions. So first question is, what is matter? So the primary goals to find the answer of the following questions. First question is, what is matter? And the second question is, what are its constituents? What are its constituents? And the third question is, what holds it together? So the primary goals of studying elementary particles is to find the answer of these three questions. So from the very early times, there are so many scientists and philosophers. They were tried to find the answers of these questions, starting from Democritus, Greek philosopher Democritus, then Indian philosopher Kanada, then after that some scientists starting from Rutherford, then J.J. Thomson, then Goldstein, then Bohr, etc. There are so many scientists and philosophers. They are tried to find the answers of these questions. But one common view is that everything in the universe, from galaxy, stars, planets to us, is made from the same basic building block, that is the elementary particles. Then next is matter. What is matter? So we know that matter is anything that occupies space and possesses mass in the universe. So matter is anything that occupies some space and it possesses some mass in the universe. So this is matter. Matter, we know that matter is of two types. One is dark matter and another is normal matter. So matter is of two types. One is dark matter and another is normal matter. So it is of two types. One is dark matter and another is normal matter. So dark matter contains 85% of the total matter in the universe. It is dark because it does not appear to interact with light. So dark matter contains 85% of the total matter. 85% of total matter. Total matter. It is dark because it is not interacting with light, and remaining 25% is normal matter. Remaining 25% is normal matter. According to a model of cosmology, the total mass energy of the universe contains, so if we consider the universe and according to the mass energy concept of the universe or mass energy content of the universe, we can say that, so the universe mass energy content of universe, mass energy content of universe, according to the mass energy content of the universe, %68 contains dark energy. So here 68% contains dark energy. Then 27% contains dark matter. Then 27% contains dark matter. And remaining 5% contains normal matter. And remaining 5%, only 5% contains normal matter. So we can say that in this 5%, all galaxies, stars, planets and we all are existing within this 5% of total mass and energy content of the universe. So then let us come to normal matter. We are only here in this topic concentrated on this normal matter. So what is normal matter? When we open our eyes, whatever we see around us is the normal matter. So normal matter, whatever we see around us are the normal matter. So the normal matter contains normal matter so normal matter contains molecules. If we break normal matter, then we get molecules. So normal matter contains molecules. If we break molecules, then we get atoms. Okay. Earlier people thought that atom is the smallest indivisible entity of matter. But from plum pudding model of J.J. Thomson, and from alpha scattering experiment of Rutherford, it became clear that atom is divisible and it contains nucleus and electrons. So again, nucleus also contains protons and neutrons. So according to the model of J.J. Thomson and alpha scattering experiment, we know that atoms are also divisible. It contains two things. One is nucleus and another is electrons. Okay. Again, nucleus is also divisible and it contains proton and neutron. So nucleus again divisible and it contains protons and neutrons. Okay. So it has been found that in a famous experiment, that is deep inelastic scattering experiment, which was occurred at Fermilab in 1967. In this experiment, they found that protons and neutrons, they are also divisible and they contains quarks. So here again proton and neutron, they are also divisible and they contains quark. So here protons and neutrons, they contains quarks. So here we can say that quarks and electrons, these quarks and electrons are the elementary particles, or we can say that smallest indivisible particle of normal matter. Okay. So now, introduction is over and matter is over. Now let us come to elementary particles. So by the word elementary particles, we mean that the particles which are smallest and indivisible. Although this concept is definite and clear, but the elementary particles are not particular. They are always varying with time. So this means that the concept of elementary particles is clear. That means elementary particle means it should be smallest and indivisible. But time to time the elementary particles vary, because earlier people thought that molecules is the elementary particles. Then people thought that no, molecule can be divisible, so atom is the smallest indivisible particle. Then after that it become nucleus and electron, and then protons, neutrons and electrons are the indivisible particles, that means elementary particles. And after that they say that no, proton and neutron are also divisible, so and they contains quarks. So now we can say that quarks and electrons are the elementary particles, and electrons are also called as leptons. So electrons are also called as leptons. Okay. So quarks and leptons are the elementary particles up to now. Okay. So then now I want to discuss about the size and structure of atom. We should know the size of atom, nucleus, then quarks, electrons. Okay. So size. Size of the atom is of the order of angstrom. Okay, so size of atom is of the order of angstrom, that is 10 to the power minus 10 meter. So this is the size of the atom. Then if we go to nucleus, then the size of nucleus is of the order of 10 to the power minus 14 meter. So this is the size of the nucleus. That means here we can say that atom is 10,000 times larger than the nucleus. Then proton and neutron are of the same size, so we can say that the size of proton is 10 to the power minus 15 meter, and it is 1 Fermi. That is, we can write this as 1 Fermi. 1 Fermi. And this is 1 angstrom. Then if we go to the quark size, quark and electron, actually it is not experimentally proved or experimentally observed the exact size of quark and electron, and it is so it is predicted or studied that quarks having the size may be less than or equal to 10 to the power minus 18 meter, and this is also equal to the size of the electron. So here we can say that if we normalize this or relative this by taking the size of quark as 1, if we say that let the size of the quark is unity or 1, then you can say that proton is 1000 times larger than the quarks or electrons, and nucleus is 10,000 times larger than the size of quarks, and then atom is 10 to the power 8 times larger than the size of the quarks. So this is about size of the atom and its constituents. So up to now we know that quarks and leptons are the elementary particles. So now let us discuss something more details about quarks and leptons. So quarks and leptons, there are basically 6 types of quarks and also 6 types of leptons. So I want to first erase this, then so quarks. So first I will tell about quarks. So there are 6 types of quarks. So first one is up quark, second one is down quark, then third one is charm quark, fourth one is strange quark, then fifth one is top quark, and the sixth one is bottom quark. Okay, so there are 6 type of quarks. So here we write the we just take symbol for these quarks. So for off quark we use U. So this is the symbol for off quark. Then for down quark we write D. For charm quark we write C. For strange we write S. For top quark we write T or tau. So T, and for bottom quark we write B. Okay. So these are the 6 quarks. So the mass of each quarks we can write here. I can write the mass of each quarks. So mass of off quark is nearly equal to 2.4 MeV per c square. Okay. So this is the unit of energy per c square, because according to the Einstein mass energy relation, E is equal to mc square. So here we can write mass becomes E upon c square. So the energy, the unit of energy is GeV. So the energy of unit is GeV and by c square. So this is the unit of mass. So that's why we write MeV per c square. This is the mass of quark, 2.4 MeV per c square. Then mass of down quark. So here I can write the symbol for off. I can write U. For down quark, the mass is 4.6 MeV per c square. Then mass of charm quark is nearly equal to 1.27 GeV per c square. So here this is GeV or MeV. So these are the unit of energy. Okay, GeV, MeV. So these are the unit of energy, and per c square, so it becomes the unit of mass. So then mass of charm quark, it becomes 1.27 GeV per c square. Then mass of strange quark, it is nearly equal to 104 MeV per c square. Then mass of top quark is around 171.2 GeV per c square. So among all the quarks, it has the highest mass. Then mass of bottom quark, it is around 4.2 GeV per c square. 4.2 GeV per c square. So these are the mass of quarks. So these are 6 quark: up, down, charm, strange, top, bottom. Then consider leptons. So here there are also 6 type of leptons. So first one is electron and its corresponding neutrino particle, that is electron neutrino. So electron neutrino. Electron neutrino. So here I can shift towards left. So this is electron neutrino. Then, so now I can erase this. So these are about quarks. Then leptons. Electron, electron neutrino. Then muon, muon, muon neutrino. Then tau, tau, tau neutrino. Okay. So like quarks, there are also 6 type of leptons. So these are the 6 type of leptons. For electron, we can write the symbol E, minus sign, this is the charge, -1 unit. For electron neutrino, you can write nu E. Then for muon, we can write mu minus, and for muon neutrino, we can write nu mu. Then for tau, we can write the symbol tau minus, and for tau neutrino, we can write nu tau. Okay. So here there are 6 quark and 6 leptons. So here electron, muon and tau, all these particles are having 1 unit of negative charge, and these are neutral. Similarly, in case of quarks, of quark having positive 2/3 of electronic charge unit. Okay. Down quark also, down quark having -1/3 of electronic charge unit. Similarly, charm quark having +2/3 of electronic charge, and top quark having +2/3 of electronic charge unit. Similarly, strange quark -1/3 E, and also bottom quark -1/3 E. So we all know that according to the charge quantization principle, every charge particle having the charge which is equal to the integral multiple of electronic charge unit. That means every charge particle in the universe is containing integral multiple of electronic charge unit. So that means here n is equal to, so minus then 0 and then plus numbers. So here n is the integer and it contains minus negative numbers, positive numbers and 0, but it should not be fractional unit. But now we see that quarks are containing fractional unit of charge. So this may be taken as a violation of the fundamental principle, that is charge quantization of charge principle. But it is not taken as a violation, because quarks are always inside the nucleus. They are not isolated. So that's why it is not taken as a violation. So here, so all these up quark, charm quark, top quark, they are containing plus 2/3 electronic charge unit, and then down quark, strange quark and bottom quark, they are all containing minus 1/3 electronic charge unit. Here, so this is quarks and this is the classification of leptons. So here we can draw a line. This is the one line, then this is another line. Okay. So this is taken as the up quark, down quark, electron and electron neutrino. It is coming under first generation. First generation. Because all these particles are included in normal matter, because our normal matter contain all these particles, because you know that in proton there are up quark and down quark. Okay, and we also know that in atom there are protons, there are nucleus and electrons. So our normal matter contains these particles. So they are in first generation. And this charm quark, strange quark, muon and muon neutron, they are coming in second generation. And this top quark, bottom quark, tau, then tau neutrino, they are coming in third generation. Okay, so this is first generation, this is second generation and this is third generation. So this is for normal matter and these two are for exotic matter. Okay, so these two are in exotic matter. So this exotic matter we cannot see, and they are formed in high energy accelerator, and its lifetime is very, very less. So these are about quarks and leptons. Okay. So then, so it is about, we completed elementary particles. Then come to fundamental forces or interactions. So what are the fundamental forces or interactions exist in nature? So apart from quarks and leptons, are there any other fundamental particle exist in nature? So to find the answers of these questions, we have to know about the fundamental forces or interactions of nature. There are mainly 4 fundamental forces or interactions of our nature. So fundamental forces. Fundamental forces. There are basically 4 fundamental forces of nature. One is strong force or strong interaction. So one is strong force or strong interaction. Then another is electromagnetic interaction. In short, I can write EM, electromagnetic interaction or electromagnetic force. Then another is weak force, and the last one is gravitational force. Gravitational force. Okay, these are the 4 forces exist in nature. So before we go into the details about the force, let us know the difference between force and interaction. Okay, what is force? A force is the effect on a particle due to the presence of other particles. Okay, so for example, we can say that suppose this is some positive charge particle, and another is at some distance there is another positive charge particle. So this charge particle will experience a force due to this particle. Okay, so the force is the effect on this particle due to the presence of other particle. So this is the force. But what is interaction? So interaction of a particle includes all the forces that affect on the particle, and it also includes decays, annihilations, all these things. So this is the difference between force and interaction. So let us come back to this fundamental forces. So there are four forces: strong, electromagnetic, weak, and gravitational. So here we can make a table. So this is force. So these are the force. Then here we can acts on or acts between. Then another is range. Then another is relative strength. And the last one is gauge bosons. Or force carrier. I will tell about this thing. So strong force basically acts among quarks. Okay, between quarks there is strong force, or we can say that between nucleons there is strong force. That means inside the nucleus strong force is effective. So between quarks and also between nucleons. Okay, so as the strong force is effective inside the nucleus, so it has the range 10 to the power minus 15 meter. That means it is the radius of the nucleus. So inside the nucleus it is effective, so its range is nuclear radius. Then come to electromagnetic interaction. Electromagnetic interaction acts between any charge particle. So it acts between charge particles. Electromagnetic force has the infinite range. So this force having the infinite range. Then weak force, it also acts between quarks and also between nucleons. So it also effective inside the nucleus. So it acts between quarks and also between nucleons. Okay, so it has the range having 10 to the power minus 18 meter. Then gravitational interaction or gravitational force, it acts between any particles having mass. So all particles, between all particles, and it also having infinite range. I am also discussing why some force having infinite range and some force having very short range. Then relative strength. So if we take the strength of strong force as 1, then electromagnetic force is 100 times weaker than the strong force, and this is nearly 100 times weaker than the strong force, and weak force is around 10 to the power minus 5 times weaker than the strong force, and gravitational force is nearly 10 to the power minus 39 times weaker than strong force. So strong force is having larger strength. So now come to the gauge bosons. What is gauge bosons? So gauge bosons are the particles which act as mediator between two particles. That means gauge bosons are the force carriers. Suppose there is in electromagnetic interaction, we know that electrostatic repulsion is coming under electromagnetic interaction. So this is plus charge particle and this is plus charge. Suppose this is a proton and this is also another proton. Between two protons, we know that there is a repulsive force. So what causes them repulsion? So there should be some mediator, there should be some force carrier, so that this particle will experience the effect of this particle. Okay, so this particle will know about the nature of this particle. So there should be some mediator. That mediator is called as, gauge bosons. Gauge bosons or field boson, or its name is force carrier, or simply you can tell that mediator, mediating particles. So depending upon these mediating particles, we can tell about the range and strength of the forces. So in strong interaction, the gauge bosons or the mediating particles are the gluons and mesons. In electromagnetic interaction, the gauge boson is photon. In weak interaction, there are two types of gauge boson. One is W plus minus and another is Z0. And the gravitational force has the gauge boson, that is graviton. Okay, these are the gauge bosons which act as a mediator in case of these forces. So I told that depending upon the mass of these gauge bosons, we can determine the range of the force. Okay. So we know that the mass of photon is nearly equal to 0. So that's why the range of electromagnetic force is around, it is infinite range, because here we can say, this is the last thing I want to tell about in today's lecture. So the range of any force, it is depend upon the mass of the gauge boson. ठीक है? So R0, so this is nearly equal to C into delta T. Okay. So from the uncertainty principle, we know that delta E, that is uncertainty in energy and uncertainty in time, it is nearly equal to h naught. Okay. So here in place of delta T, so here you can say that delta T is delta E by h naught. So R0 becomes So R0 becomes delta T becomes delta T becomes h cot by delta E. So it becomes h cot C upon delta E, and in place of delta E we can write mc square or delta mc square. Here c cancel. So range of the particle, it is depending on the mass of the mediator or gauge boson. So in case of electromagnetic interaction, the mass of photon is 0. So if it is 0, then range becomes infinity. Similarly, in case of gravitational force also, the mass of graviton, the mass of graviton is 0. So that's why its range is infinity. So it is all about the lecture, today's lecture. Thank you.